Hello and welcome. I'm Parikshit Luthra and you're watching The Global Eye. On today's episode, we put the spotlight on India's ties with the United States as Donald Trump is all set to take oath as the country's president on the 20th of January. The outgoing Biden administration has said it was leaving the India-US relationship in a very strong place and was confident that this will be maintained under the Trump presidency. However, the one big challenge remains that of tariffs. Trump had recently threatened reciprocal tariffs on India, calling India's tariffs very high. So what will Indo-US ties look like in 2025? We're now joined by a very special guest, Kenneth, former US ambassador to India. Ambassador Juster, thank you very much for joining us. Let me start off by asking you about Manmohan Singh and your role in the Indo-US nuclear deal. You had played a very important role laying the foundation structure for the nuclear deal, which was signed later by George Bush and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. How would you look back at the talks at that time, how challenging they were, and the contribution of Manmohan Singh?
Well, thank you very much, Parikshit, for that initial question, because I, too, wanted to start with my recollections and fond memories of Prime Minister Singh. He was a great leader for India who really put you on the reform process in terms of your economy, but also had the courage to sign and follow through with the agreement on the civil nuclear arrangement between our two countries. I have, as I indicated, fond memories of him. The technology has always been an important element of the U.S.-India relationship, beginning with the transformation that started between Prime Minister Vajpayee and President Bush when we formed a high technology cooperation group. Later, an initiative known as the Next Steps in Strategic Partnership focused on our cooperation in civil defense, civil nuclear, and high technology issues. And this then laid the foundation for the signing of the civil nuclear deal. And I was fortunate to be at the White House. There was a state dinner the evening in June of 2005 when the two leaders inked the decision to go forward with the negotiations. And at one point found myself alone with President Bush and Prime Minister Singh, and it was a very special moment, and congratulated them both on a courageous and historic decision, which took 4 years to negotiate. Negotiations between our two countries always take a bit of time, but really further transformed the relationship upon which both sides have continued to build with great success from administration to administration in both countries with changes of government. And I'm looking forward to more of that in the future.
Right. Ambassador Juster, how would you describe the current play between India and United States in the past few months? While there has been momentum, there is also an indication that Indo-US ties have come under strain. Maybe because of the Pannun case, we've also seen the Adani case play out in US courts. While these are legal matters, how would you describe the relations right now and the sentiment in the bureaucracy in America vis-a-vis India?
I think the relationship is very strong. Like any two countries, there will be issues that arise from time to time. But what's really amazing about the U.S.-India relationship, as I indicated a moment ago, is that it's been a bipartisan effort in the United States. And I think the same has been the case in India. And it has progressed remarkably over the last 25 years in ways that people could never even have foreseen, and now covers virtually every issue of human endeavor. We are not allies, we are partners, but we work together on defense, on trade and investment, on energy and the environment, on counterterrorism, on science and technology, on the ocean, space, agriculture, education, you name it, we're involved. And that has continued under the first Trump administration that I was proud to be involved in the relationship, through the Biden administration. I expect it to continue in the second Trump administration. In fact, if you look at the individuals nominated for Secretary of State, Senator Marco Rubio, and for the National Security Advisor, Representative Michael Waltz, they both have a strong and positive orientation toward the U.S.-India relationship.
Right. I would also like to ask you about Donald Trump's priorities from Trump 2.0, the cabinet that has been put together, and his messaging during the campaign. What do you think will be his immediate priorities vis-a-vis India?
Well, he has indicated that tariffs are an important issue to him, and he seeks a level of reciprocity, and he feels that the tariffs in India are too high and the trade deficit with India is too large. And so that issue will be on the agenda. It was on the agenda in the first term, and unfortunately, we were unable to reach agreement. It didn't stop progress in other areas, but I think there's going to be a continued focus on this. And I would urge the parties to see this not as a issue of conflict, but as an opportunity to not only have some market access measures that will respond to the concerns of President Trump, but to look at a variety of economic issues where we have mutual concerns and can complementary skills and can work out arrangements to our mutual benefit, whether that be in energy, where the United States can supply all types of energy to India, from clean coal to liquefied natural gas, oil, and renewables. And India needs energy for its own security and the amount that it needs to import from overseas. But also, the United States is India's largest trading partner, so lock down the benefits in the services sector and elsewhere. I could go on, but I think that trade will be an issue of initial friction, but if managed properly, can be also an area of great opportunity.
Right. What I would like to ask you, which are the sectors or product lines where you expect the Trump administration to impose reciprocal tariffs on India? And the reason why I'm asking you is because your experience working with India-US relations is fairly recent.
Yeah, I'm not enough into the weeds to know the exact product lines that will be a point of focus. I will say in the last administration, there were concerns about imports of certain agricultural products, including dairy and a few others, medical devices, and some products in the information technology sector. And these were the reasons why, under the review required under our statute providing the generalized system of preferences, we had to try to negotiate market access in those areas. And despite valiant efforts on both sides and almost 2 years of negotiations, we were unable to reach agreement. And that's one reason why the U.S. Trade Representative was compelled to have to eliminate the generalized system benefits for India, GSP, generalized system of preferences for India. But my hope is that those issues can be resolved. There may be others, and that, again, we can move forward in ways that are mutually beneficial across a range of economic issues.
Right. Initially, when the Ukraine-Russia war broke out, there was a bit of tension between India and the United States on India continuing to buy Russian oil and continue to buy arms and even the S-400 from the Russian government. Is this going to be a thorn in the side for the Trump administration, or are they willing to overlook?
Well, I don't know that it may go either as a thorn or as overlooking. I think some of it will depend on how the Russia-Ukraine negotiations unfold. Obviously, there is some sensitivity in the United States to India's having sophisticated weapons technology from Russia, in part because it may limit the degree to which U.S. sophisticated equipment can be provided, given the fact that there may be interactions between the two types of military hardware. But these are issues that the parties will discuss. I know India has a long historical relationship with Russia. People in the United States understand that, and we'll have to see how that issue is managed overall. It was an issue that came up during the first administration, and we were able to manage that effectively.
When you speak about immigration, Trump, during the campaign, had proposed that foreign students graduating from U.S. colleges, especially from India and China, should automatically get green cards. Now, his own camp has been divided. Some members have been wanting more skilled jobs to come from America itself. How do you think this issue is going to play out, especially with concern to India?
Well, again, there right now, I believe more Indian students studying in the United States than those from any other country. Indians have contributed enormously to the U.S. economy, especially in the technology sector, and they often are filling highly skilled jobs that there are not Americans available to fill. So I don't think there will be any precipitous change in the H-1B visa and green card program, but again, that will depend ultimately on the individuals in charge of those programs and their view, along with obviously that of the president and the vice president. But again, Indians studying in the United States has been on the rise and a great source of benefit to both countries and part of our enormous people-to-people relationship.
Right. And finally, the Indian Exporters Association, an industry body, has recently said that Trump's China tariffs could unlock a $25 billion export opportunity for India. Do you feel likewise, Ambassador Juster? And how does India leverage that opportunity which arises out of US-China tariffs?
Well, again, the entire economic situation in China should be an opportunity for India. The fact that countries are not investing further there and are looking for alternative markets means that India should be a recipient of that, provided that it's a sufficiently attractive investment environment. And as you mentioned, then that's why I think trade is an area of opportunity. If there are going to be restrictions on imports from China, those will be filled by other countries. And in fact, during the first Trump term, India was one of the countries that benefited with increased exports to the United States. And what India should be focused on is making sure that it can reach an agreement with the Trump administration on broader trade issues so that it doesn't have tariffs blocking its exports itself. And that will require some increased market access in certain areas to be negotiated by the parties.
Right. Thank you so much for those valuable views, Ambassador Juster. Let's hope that India-US ties only go stronger in the days to come. Hope to have you again on Global Eye. On that note, we take a short break here on the show, but don't go anywhere. 2024 has been a year of escalating conflicts in the Middle East. Brutal ceasefires and an uncertain future. We take a deep dive into all of that with former Cabinet Secretariat official Anju Gupta on the other side.